that I bring a certain level of drama to his life that I don't mean to bring. It's like my baggage. He could leave me right now, and it's completely out of my control. And that's scary. It was scary back then, and it's still scary now. But he has my heart, and I can't control that. I trust that he loves me. I trust that I love him. And right now, it's just like I'm happy again, and I don't want to do anything to mess it up.
Hi friends, this is Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is July 25th, Thursday, 2024. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. So the season finale of Life After Lockup, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's Life After Lockup, it was the second season of her docu-series. It's really a reality show. And it ended with her finding out that she was pregnant, but it also showed her telling Ryan that she wanted a divorce. It showed her reuniting with Ken. And it also was a pivotal moment for me because something that she told Ryan in this episode is the exact opposite of what she actually told me. In the episode, Ryan shows production a text message that he had received from Gypsy, which included a photo of her and Ken. The photo of her and Ken was of the two of them in New Orleans, and it was of Ken visiting Gypsy. And she had sent the photo via text to Ryan to show him that she was with Ken. And Ryan said that he was heartbroken by it. He was actually crying about all of it. Then he wakes up and he finds out that she has gotten matching tattoos with Ken. And meanwhile, all of this is leaking all over the internet. You're seeing what happened to them behind the scenes on the show, but obviously all of us knew that this happened because this all came out in the tabloids. Gypsy sent the photos literally to everyone. So Gypsy sent these photos to Ryan, okay? And Ryan's heartbroken about it, and he's crying, and he's like, did I mean anything to you? Did I mean anything to you?
When we reconnected, I was like, let's get matching husky tattoos. This was my idea. I'm like, let's do it. I'm like, this feels right. This feels good.
The matching tattoos broke my heart. It was like, did I mean anything? Did I mean anything?
Ryan's reaction is, I would say, pretty, I mean, if I were married to someone and we literally had only split less than 2 weeks ago, I would probably be feeling the same way. Regardless if they were compatible or not, regardless if the relationship was, not the easiest or whatever, even if you've just split, you've been involved in this relationship for 3 years, and then within a matter of weeks, you're getting a matching tattoo. I mean, I think she left Ryan on March 23rd, and she got the matching tattoo with Ken on April 1st. And there was a very short window in that time where all of the media attention was kind of calm. And then as soon as Ken came back, it was like a media storm again. And Ken's mom was talking to the tabloids. Stuff was getting leaked to TMZ. It was like this massive tidal wave. And I was absolutely shocked because obviously I was told that Gypsy and Ryan had just split. I was told she was going to be filing for divorce, but by this point, she had not filed for divorce. They were still not, they were separated, but she hadn't filed for divorce. It was a very weird, risky, bizarre choice to do this. And it felt kind of vindictive. And it felt like she wasn't even considering how this would look publicly, which I've learned a lot is she doesn't care. She doesn't think about that kind of stuff. Regardless, I was actually sent photographs directly from Gypsy of the matching tattoos. And she sent those photos to not only me, but to TMZ and to other outlets. And the photographs were everywhere. So I talked to them when all this stuff comes out because frankly, I didn't have this kind of relationship where I was talking to them literally every day. And I didn't spend a lot of time paying attention to what she was doing online. So when I saw it, I contacted them and I was like, what is going on here? And they swore up and down to me that they were just friends, that it was nothing, that it wasn't like it looked. It was literally they were just friends. That's what they told me. And so that's what I put out. And that's what TMZ put out. And that's what other outlets put out, because that's what they told us. And then a day later, there's photographs that come out of her holding hands with Ken. And I was like, what? You're going to say nothing? You're going to literally say to me that nothing's happening, right? You're literally going to say to me that they're just friends and then they're holding hands. Okay. You're willing to lie to me. I get it. So that was kind of like one point where I was like, I can't trust them anymore. That was in April. Okay. And so it's taken me several months to get to this point to back away. So a couple days later, when I find out that it's obviously not like they told me initially, then I'm told that Gypsy was sending these photographs of her with Ken to Ryan. And I was horrified. I was like, that is so cruel. Like, why would she do that? And this person within the family was horrified too, and very upset with Gypsy, and said that it was really unnecessary and that Gypsy wasn't fighting fair, and she was intentionally trying to make Ryan jealous and doing this to like fuel chaos, right? Like, she would do this to both these guys. And she's, I want to be clear, still doing this. This is still happening. She is still contacting Ryan, and she's getting in fights with Ken and goes to run to Ryan. I'll get there in a minute. Regardless, by this point it's May, and the news is all over the place. And at this point now, there's rumors that she's pregnant. I don't even know that she's pregnant at this point. And promo comes out for the Kim Kardashian episode where she's going to be on the Kardashians. And I was just like disgusted. I was at a point where it was so obvious to me that no matter what, this wasn't about advocacy. This wasn't about trying to help other people, because that was the story they sold me. They sold me that Gypsy wasn't going to come out and try to be famous. They promised me that it wasn't going to be about fame. It wasn't going to be about money. And I never would have supported any of this if it would have been about fame and would about money. They told me that they were going to do advocacy. They were going to start working with advocacy groups. They were going to get connected with people like Elizabeth Smart and other victims of abuse that have been high profile. And they were going to develop networks to help raise awareness around the disorder that Gypsy's mom allegedly had, even though she could never be diagnosed with it because she was unalived by Gypsy and Nicholas Godejohn in 2015. So we'll never know if Gypsy's mom had Munchausen's by proxy or if she was just a malingerer, which is a fraud scheme where you fake illnesses so that you can get gifts, money, all of it. And it would be malingering by proxy, which is different than Munchausen's syndrome by proxy. Regardless. So in May, I have a phone call with Gypsy because the behavior online, the running to the tabloids, the constant shifting in what she's going to do. She's not going to be an advocate anymore. Now she's going to be an influencer. It's beginning to start to feel like all of these promises that were made to me about what they cared about and who they felt and who they portrayed themselves to be, and the issues that they claimed to support were not in fact true. I don't think that Gypsy really has the capacity to care about any of it. I don't think she really cares about the communities that she and her mom impacted, the communities that were defrauded, and the lasting impact of what her mom's case has done to communities with children with disabilities, and the fraud that was perpetuated on her community in Springfield. I just don't see it because it's not there. And when I was talking with her, we were talking through a lot of my concerns, and I flat out said to her, Gypsy, why are you sending photographs of you and Ken to Ryan? And point blank, she said to me, I didn't do that. Seriously, she said, I didn't do that. And I was like, you're lying to me. I said, I know you sent him a text message of you and Ken together. And then she was like, wait, what? Huh? What? And like kind of started backtracking. And then she says to me, oh, yeah, I did. I sent him a photograph of me and Ken because I wanted him to get me on adultery. And I was like, what? She's like, well, I wanted the marriage to be over. And so I just wanted to get him to get me on adultery so he would just see that it was over and so the divorce could just go through. And it didn't even make sense to me because I want to share with you something. Adultery isn't anything that matters in Louisiana. Louisiana is a no-fault divorce state. Proving adultery can help with alimony and maybe division of property in the favor of Ryan, not in the favor of her, but it wouldn't speed up their divorce in any capacity, right? It's a no-fault state. All they have to say is irreconcilable differences. And I said, I was horrified. I was like, that's just cruel. It is cruel to send someone photographs of you with someone else to make them see that you're done with them. It's mean. It's vindictive. It's like playing with someone's heart. This is a guy that invested 3 years in her life. And even if I don't think that his personality is that great on the show, you don't do that to someone. I was so infuriated by it. And I let her know. I let her know that that was wrong. And I don't support that kind of behavior. And that was just one of the many things that I didn't support. So if anyone thinks that I was just blindly behind the scenes not saying anything, I was saying things. Trust me. But no one listens. And again, they don't have to listen to me. I'm just some random person. But I let her know that that was wrong. And so when she said to me that she was trying to get him on adultery, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Well, on this recent episode, there's a clip of Gypsy and Ryan talking, and she's on the phone. She's in the garage at her parents' place in Cutoff, Louisiana. And he says, you know, I've got you on adultery. You know, I've got you on adultery. And I'm like, and she's like, I didn't do anything. You don't have me on adultery. What are you talking about? I haven't done anything. And that was my end point. That was my end point when she said that to him, because she told me I wanted him to get me on adultery. And then when she flat out is approached by him or like confronted by him and says, I've got you on adultery. And she's like, no, you didn't. I didn't do anything. I knew that she was maliciously sending those photographs to him and intentionally playing with him. Intentionally. Like, I don't know if she finds this to be fun. I don't know if this is like a game for her. But the fact that she says to me, I'm trying to get him on I want him to get me on adultery because she doesn't want to be with him anymore. And then he's like, I've got you on adultery. And she's like, no, you didn't. I didn't do anything. Why did you send the photos then? What are you trying to do to him? Are you trying to terrorize him? Are you trying to make him like feel small? Are you trying to make him feel insignificant? Are you trying to intentionally humiliate him? Because that's what it looks like when you're leaving someone and you're flaunting a new relationship before you even file for divorce. So that was my end point, okay? And I knew at that point that Gypsy doesn't really care about other people's feelings. When she has made a decision to cut ties with someone, it's like it doesn't matter to her at all what their feelings are. And if she hurts them by doing something, it doesn't matter. She has no remorse. Like, it's clear she has no remorse. And that just made me start to think, what else does she have no remorse about, right? With her marriage breaking down and she finally files for divorce and the divorce is in process, right? She's now pregnant. We don't know who the baby's father is because Ryan said on Lifetime that he got pregnancy tests from her a month before, and she said she was pregnant a month before, and he could have been the father. So frankly, if I'm going to go off a track record of who's going to be lying and who's not going to be lying, I'm going to believe Ryan over Gypsy.
You know, a month right after she left, Gypsy texted me a bunch of pregnancy tests and said she was pregnant. Okay, well, who's the father? And it could have been me or Ken at that point. So she didn't know. She was like, I don't know. The previous month, she sent me pictures of pregnancy tests. But this time, there's no pictures, no proof. And so, like, I don't know what to believe.
Obviously, we don't know who the father is. We don't know when she conceived. We can only go off based off a admitted liar's point of view that she's going to be giving birth on January 22nd, and that's when. And it's Ken's baby for sure. A paternity test is going to help us sort through this or help them sort through this. I'm not even invested in this and I'm not involved in it in any way. But if you think that because she's now pregnant with Ken's baby, she has suddenly changed and she has found the love of her life and she is with the man of her dreams, that literally couldn't be further from the truth, because the thing about Gypsy is you can't change. Like, Gypsy is the kind of person that the grass is always greener on the other side. And it's very impulsive about what can make her happy now. She is 100% chasing fairy tales and 100% always looking for the fix of who's going to give her the most attention, who's going to make her feel the most validated, who's going to give her the most supply. And when somebody doesn't give her what she wants, then she goes to another person to get what she wants. And then she plays games between the guys. And so she had been playing games between Ken and Ryan for years, and she is still playing games between Ken and Ryan. So I'll give you an example. Gypsy's now with Ken. She's on parole, and she can't live with him, but she spends time with him, and he spends time with her. Gypsy and Ken on social media act like they have the most perfect relationship. Gypsy's telling everyone that he is the love of her life. She finally found her person, and she's happy and in love. She said the exact same thing about Ryan, that she had to kiss a few frogs, but she found her Prince Charming. She also said the same thing about Nick. She wanted to get pregnant with all three of them. She wanted to have a baby with Nick, she wanted to have a baby with Ryan, and she wanted to have a baby with Ken. She just wants to have a baby. And I think she thinks that having a baby will solidify a relationship so the guy can't get out of his relationship with her. But even with a baby, it doesn't change Gypsy and who she is internally. And Gypsy has a very high opinion of herself, a super high opinion of herself, an overinflated sense of self. And over the years has been telling these guys that all these other men want to be with her. And so they should be lucky that she's with them and that she can find another guy easy because of who she is. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that Ryan has admitted that on the show. Gypsy believes she's famous. She believes she's desirable. She believes she's wanted. And she uses that and plays on the guy's insecurities. And when they fight, she doesn't fight fair. And so an example is, and she told me this, she and Ken were having an argument, and she was upset because Ken was looking at photographs of his ex to see how he was looking at his ex versus how he looked at Gypsy, because people online said that Ken didn't look like he was happy and he didn't see it. And he wanted to see if there was some sort of difference between how he was with his ex-girlfriend versus how he was with Gypsy. And that made Gypsy like blow up, I guess. And then she said that in response to that, she contacted Ryan and told him that she missed him and didn't know what she wanted anymore. So Ken literally just looked at a photograph of his ex to see if he was looking at her differently than he was looking at Gypsy because of an online troll. And then Gypsy doesn't like that he's even looking at a photograph of his ex, even though Gypsy's current ex is all over the media, right? And she calls Ryan and tells Ryan she misses him and she still is in love with him. And that was a couple weeks ago. Yep. And then Ryan is on a live and he texts Gypsy, and then Gypsy is saying she's not going to respond to him. This was a couple weeks ago on TikTok. And Gypsy is playing both sides. She's still playing with Ryan's heart. She's still stringing him along. And then she's also, whenever Ken does something that she doesn't like, she runs back to Ryan. Always. That's why Ryan says she always comes back. So after she is having this fight with Ken and texts Ryan, Ryan texts her, and then she texts Ryan back and tells him to keep her name out of his mouth. It's just, she instigates the communication. She drops the feelings, and then when he reciprocates the feelings and is feeling conflicted about those feelings and says, well, don't you miss me? Her response is to be cruel. But had she not even done it in the first place, she wouldn't have confused the man to begin with. She's playing a game, and it's keeping both the guys completely off balance. I think I expressed concerns a week ago to the family that I don't think Ken and Gypsy are going to make it until the baby. I think they'll split before it even happens. I don't know if that's true. That's just my gut. And they said to me that Gypsy and Ken have been having a lot of arguments about insecurities, about infidelity, about Ken leaving again, about Gypsy's jealousy of him and his ex-girlfriend, about Gypsy going through his phone and looking for text messages and checking for photographs that he might have of any girl in his phone, even though her show has has her marriage on television, right? Her marriage is plastered everywhere, kissing Ryan everywhere, but getting mad at Ken for having a couple photos of an ex-girlfriend in his phone. And when Ken doesn't do what she wants, then she gets cruel and apparently has told him he's too immature to be a father, which is that's what they said, allegedly. She allegedly said that Ken is too immature to be a father, and she doesn't know if she can have if he should even be in a relationship with him. But she can't give up on it because, her baby needs two parents. So she's already less than a couple months into this relationship that's rekindled with Ken and already trying to think of a way to get out of it. He's too immature. He looks at his ex. He's going to leave her. It made me think about something from her case with Nick about how she's very jealous. And it was something from, I think, the police report. It's actually from a police report, the supplemental report from the investigation. And it was during the time when they were digging through all of the records of Gypsy's data, like the videos and all of those interactions that she and Nicholas were having. And in one of the supplemental reports, and this was posted on a Google Drive, I actually found it on Reddit. It looks like it's by proxy, who's my fancy Maselli. That's a whole other thing. But it says, the police report says that she's playing Ruby. And she says, "Hi, sir, this is Ruby, and I'm making this video as an introduction video. Gypsy admits Ruby is the most evil side of her. She stated in the audio that she likes to get into trouble. She's not sorry when she gets caught. She stated that her caring was broken and she was not scared of law enforcement, but she would be scared of Nicholas's evil side. She stated that she would do anything with Nicholas, to include murder, rape, and assault. Gypsy tells Nicholas if at any time a girl tried to become his girlfriend, she would kill them with pleasure, and there would be lots of gore and blood. She stated that if the girl was trying to get with Nicholas for sex, she might allow it. But if the girl tried to get with him as a girlfriend, she would kill her, or they could kill her together." And then she goes on to say that if it were family members murdered, she would not be so brutal, and she would have to step back and let him handle it. She claims all of that is role play, right? They're just doing the role play. She was just following his lead, saying whatever he wanted, whatever. But when I saw that this morning, it got me thinking about what she told me about when she left Ryan, because she said that she felt trapped in her marriage and that she needed to get out. And she said she was so proud of herself that she was able to leave him and leave without hurting him, and leave without having to resort to murder. And I was like, that's just weird. But because with her mom, she felt trapped and that's where they went. But to still be thinking that that could be a possibility and then be proud of yourself for not doing it, it just kind of gives me chills. I don't know if she was just trying to say that she's learning that what she did in the past was wrong and that there's ways to do things that aren't what she did before, but she probably should have already learned that, you know what I'm saying? But what I found interesting is that in that she's talking about the jealousy that she feels of other girls and what she would do to someone if she found them with another girl. And now she's being very jealous apparently with Ken. So I don't know, man, if I were Ken, I'd be sleeping with one eye open. That's just my thoughts. It's been an experience of dealing with this woman, and to extract myself from them is difficult because they do retaliate against people. And I also know that I posted stuff based upon things she told me that were just flat out lies, and that's on me, right? I, like other outlets, are just posting what she's telling them, and TMZ is doing it too. She tells them something and then that's what she says. That's what their claim is. Whether it's true or not, that's what the claim is. So Gypsy's happily ever after isn't that happy. She is still playing both sides. She's intentionally hurting both men. She's doing this as some kind of game, some sort of power trip. And it just further makes me feel like if Gypsy really is and has gone through so much abuse and so much trauma as a child and went through all of that, and she's not doing intense therapy, I'm like, how is she going to be a mother if this is how she's acting right now? Like, how is she going to take care of a kid if she can't even take care of herself? It feels very ominous to me, very ominous. And I fear for the child. I fear for the safety of people around Gypsy. I feel like she could potentially end up in prison again. And I don't know for what, maybe fraud. But it feels like she hasn't really let go of a lot of her behaviors that she had before that led to what happened to her mom. And she hasn't been reformed. And I think she just says the right things and says whatever she thinks is going to get her the right reaction. She like parrots and mirrors people and says what they want to hear, regardless if it's true. And then that makes me wonder, like, what is she not said about her crime, right? Like, if she's willing to lie about these little things, what then am I supposed to question about her experience with her mom? What can I believe about what she said happened to her? What can I believe about what she claims her role is in this situation? Because her case wasn't fully investigated because she took a plea deal. And it just, all of that makes me question how much I actually know. And I thought I knew this case well. So what are your thoughts about all of this? Make sure to leave some comments below if you have something you'd like to say, if you're surprised or not surprised. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks everyone so much for watching. Bye everyone.